Today, friends, I want to share with you how to make these cute little triangle boxes. They look sort of like a Christmas tree. That's what I like to call them, filled with 9 Hershey Kisses. And they are in this little tree here through these different compartments that we're going to do with folding some paper. And you can decorate the outside as you wish, and everything fits in here nice and snug. There's no glue inside that I use. I do glue the outside border together, and then you can take little treat bags and add these to them, and I think they just make a wonderful little gift. Again, only made up of 9 little Hershey Kisses. And so let's get into how we can use our paper and fold these up. So I am using black cardstock for the one that I'm going to make here and show you today. You need 1-inch strips of paper. And so what you're going to need, you need an 11-inch strip. We also need a 7-inch, and these are all 1-inch strips. So 11-inch, 7-inch, and 4-inch, and we're going to use this to do our inside folding. And what's really neat about this is you really only need to cut down that 11-inch side here, the 1-inch strip, to give you the one. Here's another 11-inch strip, and we'll cut it at 7 and 4. So that's how much paper you've used so far. And then you're going to need 2 1-inch strips that are cut to 9 3/4. Now, I'm going to show you what we're going to do, because with these 9 3/4 inch strips, that's going to make our outside triangle. And what I like to do is glue these 2 pieces together to make it a little bit extra stronger. Now, you may have some really strong cardstock, and if you do and you're comfortable with the 1 strip, that is fine. But I did want to show you, again, like I said, we are not going to be gluing any of our inside compartments together. When we start placing the Hershey Kisses in here, everything lines up really nice. But what I was wanting to show you with this, and I can't even really tell where my shape takes place. Anyways, I only used 1 strip of paper for this triangle, and it may fit a little bit better once the Hershey Kisses are in it, but it still felt sort of flimsy to me. So that's why I went with the 2 strips glued together. I'm going to do like a cooking show, and I already have my pieces glued together. So, and that's because I did use a little bit of tape runner, but then I also used my Tombow glue to glue these together. So now I have a little bit thicker piece. Again, that's going to be my triangle. So let's take this 9 3/4 inch by 1 inch strip. And again, this is the outside of our triangle here. We're going to first start and score this at 3 inches. So line this up on my trimmer. I'm going to score 3 inches. Then we're going to go to 6 1/8. So I'm going to have to extend this out. So we'll go to 6 1/8, and then 9 1/4. 9 1/4. And you'll notice there's just a little piece left over here on the end, and we're going to use that when we do our folding. Let's set this to the side though, and let's take our 11-inch strip. Now, for the 3 strips that remain, the 11, the 7, and 4, we are just scoring every 1 inch. So for this first score line, I like to use that there on the end. And then I like to go down here. So I've got 10. I've already scored at 1 inch. I'm going to go down to 9 inches. And you can score different ways, right? But it's every 1 inch we're going to score. So just go through that on each of these pieces. I'm going to finish that up, and then I will grab my 7-inch strip. So you can see the score lines here on my 11-inch strip. Now let's go with the 7-inch strip. Every 1 inch. then the 4-inch strip, same thing. At 3, 2, and 1. And you can put your trimmer away. Let's start with the 9 3/4 inch. That's our outside border. I would grab a bone folder, and we're going to form a triangle with this piece. So I've got my bone folder. We're just going to fold these along those 3 score lines that we have. And if you'll notice, then we have something like this. This is going to be our connection point right here. So I'm going to take a little bit of adhesive and glue. I like to use the adhesive there, just the tape runner, to give me that initial hold until my glue dries. I use Tombow a lot. It's just easy. And then we're going to fold that down and then form that connection there. And we've got our triangle. So I'm just going to hold that for just a few moments, and then I'm going to set that aside. It can be drying while we're going to do some folding now on our pieces to do the inside sections. I like to start with the 11-inch strip. And remember, we have scored this at 1-inch intervals, and our basic thing that we're doing is we're forming triangles. So if you'll see here, we've got a triangle that has the base on the bottom, a triangle with the base on the top, and then we're just back and forth, right? So that's the first thing we're going to do. So as we're folding, that is the general shape that I'm going for. So here is my first triangle with the base on the bottom. Then I need to make my base on the top. And when I say base, you know, that's just that straight point on the triangle. We're going to fold back down to come down to make, and so can you see these 2 triangles here? Now we're going to fold back to form another base on the bottom. And you just have to kind of hold these in place again, because we're not gluing, we're not doing any kind of adhesive right now. Ready to have my base on the top, fold back down, and now we're going to form that last triangle for the bottom row. And there we go. You can use your bone folder and stuff if you want to, but look how nicely that fits. Okay, I like to put this border here on the table face down. It's kind of easier to slide everything in. Now you may want to consider where this is that little fold where I glued it together. I'm going to put that on the bottom. So when I get ready to place this in, I can just form that right there. And there is my bottom structure right there. Now let's go with the 7-inch piece, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start with a triangle on the bottom. Well, I'm sorry, with the base on the bottom. Our triangle is going to fit right here. I tend to do mine from left to right, and you may have a different technique. If you see it starting from the other end first, go for it. But this is how I visualize this as I'm working it. This has 3 triangles with this second row, and we form it just like that. Maybe you can see better right there in a clear spot. And I'm just going to line that up right there. So now you can see each of the little compartments. We have our 4-inch strip, and this has 4 folds for the 1 spot up top. And so we're going to have some overlap because that makes a square right there, but we're just going to overlap it. I usually put that overlapped piece on the bottom, and we'll just squeeze that into the top, and it just forms everything nicely. Notice how nicely everything goes in here, as opposed to, actually, this is the piece that I have here. It's not too bad, but it doesn't really hold its shape as well. And I think it's because this is that one thickness of the border. So maybe that has something to do with it. Now we have spots ready for our Hershey Kisses. Grab those kisses. There's so many bags of Hershey Kisses with respect to whether you do the milk chocolate or you do like cookies and cream or all the other different flavors. I can't even keep up with all of them. In addition to that, with the milk chocolate, there's all different kinds of colors. The traditional red, green, and silver, or you've got the little Santa hats, those. I've also got the Grinch Kisses, and so I thought I would just get a pack of those. Now, decide which 9 you're going to use in what order. And I think there's just 2 different designs, or are there 3? No, there's 2 different designs of these. And so I'm just going to kind of do some alternating things, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to start with the one with the Santa hat Grinch on top. And when we're placing our Hershey Kisses in here, it's just, we're trying to make that good feel. You'll get a feel of when it's right. But I'm going to go with the corners first. I think it just kind of sets this up. Now, I didn't place these out. I probably should place these out. It doesn't really matter. Let's see. But if I want to do any kind of specific order. So I've got 5 on the bottom. And then we have 3 on the next row. 1, 2, 3. Should I have done it the other? Because now I'm red to red. Does that really matter? It really doesn't, but I'm going to switch these up. Okay. And now there we go. Let's see if that works. It's going to be okay, right? Because it's all chocolate. So now let's go ahead. I'm going to place these here in the corners. And it's paper. We're just working with our paper, so we just carefully maneuver things around. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do this one right here and see if that kind of lines everything up. And now we'll just place our other ones. I find it easier if I do pointed side first. And I've got one little triangle left here. And look, it's trying to change the shape for me. And I'm just going to have to get in here and wiggle it around and get that shape back to fit this last little chocolate in. There we go. And it's so nice and snug. I have no glue on the inside. We have our 9 chocolates. This looks great to me right here. You could take this and put it inside a bag or give it as is. Let me show you some options. This is the first little one that I made, and as you can tell, we added these little wooden stars on the top to make this a little tree, and then added it to the gift bag. And I don't have any of those stars because I got those from my Stamp Club leader, but I do have these little wood shapes that I believe I picked up at the Dollar Tree. And you can add a little glue dot or hot glue and put that on the top, and that looks so cute. That is an option right there. I also thought it would look cute to use little pom-pom balls and maybe the bigger balls here. Oops. If you had a bigger pom-pom and just hot glue that to the top, I think that is a cute option. But another thing I like to do is to wrap ribbon around the edges here of my tree. We'll call it our tree. And because it is 1 inch thick in paper there, it's an opportunity to use some of our thicker ribbon. So I'm going to take this piece here and trim that to about right here, just a little bit of an overlap. And to me, the easiest way to put this on is take our ribbon strip, and then we'll take a little bit of our tape runner. Now you can use glue if you would like, but I'm just going to use a little bit of this tape, and see right there where that is flowing over. Oops. I'm going to just line this up and run it around. Now some of my pieces you can see are kind of coming out. I'm going to have to realign everything. I've been maneuvering it and moving it all around. And I'm just going to wrap these on top of each other. Oops. And there we've got a cute ribbon wrapped around our tree. You can add those little pieces like we talked about, or take your little gift bag. And I like these gift bags that when they don't really have a bottom to, you can take a little strip of paper, about a 1-inch strip, place that in the bottom of your bag, and it's going to just help our tree to have a little spot to stand up in. And you can add a ribbon there, or you can add the little twist ties, whatever it is. But I think that just makes the cutest gift of 9 little Hershey Kisses. I would love to get that. These are great for your coworkers, for family, friends, little ones, teacher gifts. This is awesome. And I think it's just so easy to just cut these strips, wrap them up, and then make your cute little Hershey Kiss tree. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please share with me if you decide to make any of these. I would love to see what you come up with. There's so many different ways that you can take your papers, use different color paper, and of course, all the good little Hershey Kisses. I hope you have a great day and join me again for our next cute project.